Hi, welcome to Racehouse with me, Joe Lee.
Me, Darren Reeves.
We're underway. It's the first race of the F1 season 2024. Finally, it seemed like an eternity. Bahrain has happened, and it's been an unusual Bahrain because they've shifted the dates because of the holy month of Ramadan, and because the next race is in Saudi. That happens just before Ramadan. So it won't be on Sunday because that's the first day of Ramadan for the Muslim culture. And because of these races now, the years gone by, have been in lots of these Arab countries surrounding Dubai, where I'm at the moment, they've had to kind of reposition and rejiggle this. And that's going to be interesting next year because Ramadan moves forward a fortnight every year. So we're going to have to see the calendar start later next year. So you could see, late March could be the first ones, or they could start back in Australia and rejig the calendar because of Ramadan, which I think might happen.
Do you know, I find it really interesting that we're bringing in these cultures and actually trying to work with everybody, and it's a global sport. We need to accept all these different cultures and understand them, rather than just be it's got to be this time for television. I think a part of it is because Vegas did the Saturday night. We hadn't seen a Saturday race since 1970, and then suddenly we've got 3 in 4 races are on a Saturday. So I think it's all encompassing. I think well done, Formula One, for listening to people. It works better for people. Formula One fans are going to watch it on the television, whether it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Let's do a Monday race for fun. Come on, let's why not?
Both people will watch it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But do you know what? And we've got as another night race, of course. I think it's beautiful, but it was cold in Bahrain this weekend. Joe, you live out in the desert. Talk to me about why it was cold in Bahrain.
Well, the desert is a cold place, even in Vegas. And Vegas was freezing this year, as everyone found out, and to their surprise, when all these companies were doing rooftop nightclubs, and it's -2. No, thank you. I'm okay. I'm going to go inside and play the slots. No, with Bahrain, yes, and I've worked Bahrain a few times. I think 5, 6 times, and it is cold. You have to wear a jumper, maybe some layers, because at night in the middle of the desert, there's nothing there to kind of warm you. You haven't got that warmth from the city, as you would get in say London, for example, or the shelter. So it's very exposed. Yeah, it does drop cold. So you got to make sure you're suited and booted if you're in the VIP sections in the Paddock Club. I saw Jeremy Clarkson was there. He was waving the Finnish flag. Mike Rutherford from Genesis was there. Lord Richmond as well from Goodwood, and probably Nick Mason.
Your friend Mike Rutherford, Joe. Come on,
come on. Both Chertsey boys. Because since I met him with you, I found out he was born in Chertsey. Anyway, we've got so much in common. It's brilliant. Look, dominance again. Red Bull. Look, there's been a lot of distraction. We didn't talk about this last time. This whole Christian Horner thing. And I don't think this is over yet. So we're still to see what's going to unravel with this a bit. But Red Bull had their investigation and have cleared him of wrongdoing. But the messages have leaked and they're all over the paddock and now all over the world. So let's see what resolution there is. I think it's such a strong team, commercially and racing wise. It's it's a very strong team to break up. However, if there's illegality, then that has to be taken seriously, of course.
But no one person is bigger than a team, Joe. And Red Bull are a massive organization. They've just got to do the right thing for Formula One and the right thing for Red Bull. And I sort of feel like they're protecting him a little bit at the moment. But again, he's denying all allegations. And I don't like trial by media, really. No. We just want the truth, and we just want fairness within the sport. So the sooner it's out the way. But it didn't affect Red Bull, though, did it? Let's be honest, this weekend.
Unbelievable dominant display by Max, again cruised to victory, and Perez got the P2, a 1-2. I mean, that was the result really they needed to to get away from this distraction,
Yes.
and all this negative press. So look, that's what it is. They do the talking on the track, and that's what's happened. But for me, man of the match, man of the race, Carlos Sainz.
Yeah.
What a performance! I mean,
Well,
we know that he's lost his seat next year to Lewis Hamilton, so this is a great audition piece for next year.
he's always been that second driver, whether at Toro Rosso, whether at Renault, whether at McLaren, we're now at Ferrari. And you know what? Now he's just going to ignore any team orders, and he's racing for his career. And I'm sure he's going to get a drive somewhere. But he just did a great move on Russell and a great move on Leclerc, and he kept up with the Red Bull of Perez. Now, I don't know if that's something to shout about or not, really. But he was the one driver that was there. He was the one driver to beat a Red Bull last year as well. This guy has to be worth a top drive.
Oh, surely. Yeah. Whether it's Mercedes or maybe Aston Martin or even McLaren,
Yeah, I just can't see him being in a Red Bull. Well, he could be. He was a Red Bull driver. Could that second Red Bull seat be available next season? Yeah, it doesn't at all.
Maybe not Haas or
Williams, but a great. For me, he was the story of the race. Red Bull 1-2, we just expect that every time now. Perez has a few mishaps, but he had one of his better drives, I felt. Coming from 5th to 2nd, that's actually better than going from 1st to 1st, if you think about it. But, but he's got the car to do that every race, and no excuses, really. But Sainz, wow. I think Leclerc had a few problems, didn't he? He had brake problems and was nursing the car home, so did well to get 4th. I think we'll give him that.
He fended off George Russell pretty well.
Yeah.
And, I think the McLarens did very well. Obviously, we're in delivery again.
You are?
For the boys. Yeah, start the season. And a much better Bahrain than last year, because last year they basically came last, both of them, 19th and 20th. And now Norris got 6th, Piastri 8th. Much better result. This gives them really good foundation, I think, to build on for the rest of the season. Hamilton was there in 7th. I think a lot of people expected him to be top 3, I think.
I expected him to be up there and driving for his life this time, but he's not driving for a race seat, is he? Unlike Sainz. It's all done and dusted. I just worry, is the motivation there? Yeah, I don't know. Russell definitely was the better driver of the two this weekend, all weekend. Hamilton said he took a few risks with his setup, but they didn't work. But the Mercedes and the McLaren, they seem to be very, very similar place, sitting for the third best team, really, either of them, with Aston Martin just behind them. We had no DNFs, Joe. We've got, it's very odd, isn't it? There's no new rookie drivers to follow. There were no DNFs. There was that little sort of spin for where Hulkenberg clipped Stroll on turn 1. It was a very uneventful race, and then a silly pit stop by Bottas. But what happened there?
It was, I think they put the wrong tyres on. That's what I thought they did. This is
ridiculous.
But it took forever. I mean, I think it was George Russell that came in after and then out ahead. And that was his pit stop was 2.9 seconds, which is nowadays that's an average time. But he was there for about a minute. I mean, that's excruciating.
The sponsors would be going mental, Stake, they're the title sponsor this year, aren't they? The amount of money that these people put in for then these mistakes to happen is totally unacceptable, right the way to the top. That's not Formula One. That's just schoolboy, basic stuff, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't expect that sort of team behavior where I am today, Joe.
Well, no, you wouldn't expect that now. It's just unbelievable. And tell us, where are you actually, Darren?
Well,
you're not in your kitchen as usual.
I'm not in my kitchen or anywhere else. I'm at GYG karting racetrack in North Wales for a test day, ready for the Super One National Karting Series here in the UK that starts first week of April. And my son is racing in the series this season with Procar Engineering team, and we're hoping for some good results. So it's his first time here out on this track. And he's had a couple of spectaculars already, Joe. It's a drying track, and then we had a bit of hail. but he sent it into the barriers and came out the kart in his second session. And then at the back of the track, it started to rain, and he went straight off at a hairpin and just kept going and going and going as if he was never going to stop. So we've had some dirt flying around, and those overalls will definitely go into the washing machine. But it's a beautiful, it's a beautiful track. As it's the first time we've been here, and we're really excited to race here at the beginning of April. So yeah, Super One is the series, so people should check that out. And say this is the world where Formula One drivers, they all come through these championships, whether in the UK or anywhere else in the world. And being part of this it's so exciting to be here today, Joe. And he travelled up with the team because I came from I was playing Derby Arena last night, so I got a hire car and just headed here, and we're back in motorsport. You know, it's I'm so glad it's all back, mate. Those couple of months over Christmas, they're so boring compared to the rest of the year.
Oh yeah, exactly. It looks like you got a bit of sunshine as well. There's good weather.
Well, it's doing everything. I say we had some hail 20 minutes ago just to dampen the track again, but we're out on slicks. There's a lot of blue sky over there as well. So hopefully, but mate, driving in today, North Wales is so beautiful. So beautiful. Yes. Yeah, just stunning. But it's a little bit chilly, I have to say. So not the Bahrain temperatures of the daytime temperatures anyway. And the Dubai ones you have, Joe.
No, certainly. So, but that plays such an important part. And I think people don't realize when they are going around the world to these different tracks, the temperatures, they can change dramatically. So daytime temperature when you're testing or doing qualifying or anything like that, or practice, that's different to the nighttime because the track starts to cool off. The tires will cool off a bit quicker.
Yeah, the tires are the biggest really with temperatures, air temperature, track temperature. But I was interested this weekend, Joe, that there didn't seem to be that much difference between the performance and degradation of the hard tire to the performance and degradation of the soft tire, and nobody used a medium tire, I don't think, for the race.
Have Pirelli changed the formula of the compounds?
Well, they always have their C1, 2, 3, 4, 5s, and I've got to be honest with you, I didn't go deep enough into it to look, but Sainz was on the hard tire and the Red Bulls were on the soft, but they were expecting the softs to go off, but they just all seemed to stay together. But I thought it was a really impressive drive, even though they were on different tires, for Ferrari in Sainz's hands to be right there with Perez, and driver of the day, definitely. But Perez, for me, a close second.
And all those questions about Perez, he needs to go. And, he came second in the championship last year. He did. He's come second today. I mean, he's doing his job. He's the number 2 driver. He's at number 2. I mean, what more can you ask of the guy?
And remember, when he signed for Red Bull, he just won a race with Racing Point, now Aston Martin, and didn't have a drive. And he goes and gets in the best car in Formula One. When he, so I think he's done a great job for what's asked of him. It was always to be number 2 to Max Verstappen, and he's doing the job. So let's not get at him at all.
Talking of ones and the twos, and twos.
Yes.
The Red Bull second team, which what we're going to call what we calling this team?
RB.
RB. Yeah.
Visa Cash Out. It's RB, mate. It's RB. That's what it is.
Sounds like a restaurant in America. Arby's.
Yeah.
RB.
It certainly does.
But the team orders there at Tsunoda was not happy having to give his place up to Ricciardo. What was the logic there?
Well, firstly, they were on different strategies. Okay, so I think Ricciardo was on the softer, faster tire in their eyes. Wasn't really going much faster because the tires weren't degrading. But Tsunoda was not happy about it. Clearly now, Ricciardo is the number 1 driver in that team, and that I think either of those drivers are also racing for the number 2 seat in Red Bull next year. I think this is Perez's last season. I think. And they will switch it out. But what we need to see is a driver to take on Verstappen. I don't like all this world of when Michael Schumacher was at Ferrari and Massa and Barrichello didn't really fight for it. Saying that 2008, Massa claims to have won the 2008 championship, so he was there. We need better team connections, not this 1-2 driver strategy. We need 2 top drivers. Prost and Senna is what we need. Hamilton and Rosberg. We need those seasons because Formula One, Red Bull, I was disappointed. All the hype for Bahrain, it wasn't a race, was it? You know, it wasn't a contest.
Decimation. No.
Just Verstappen and Red Bull just blew everyone away again, which of course is what they want to do. That is part of competition, is to win, isn't it? They did everything right. But from a spectator point of view, I came away a little bit like something was missing. I expected so much from Mercedes this weekend, and McLaren's rise. You know, they've had a better start than they had last season, and hopefully they'll keep going up. But I just wanted a bit more. But have Red Bull just come out the blocks and blown everyone away again, which knocks the wind out of people's sails.
It does. And what knocked us for sixth last year in Bahrain was Aston Martin. They did amazing
Yes.
well. Alonso got third place.
Yes.
And that was such an amazing surprise. And we're like, oh, wow, this is really shaking up the tree. This was not the same Bahrain for them. Stroll spun out, I think, the first lap, wasn't it, after the start?
Yep.
And Alonso was just getting overtaken by so many people.
Again,
Hamilton
didn't he stay out long though to have fast tyres at the end? I think that was the plan. Had it a long stint in the middle, so he was on a different strategy. He was on Alonso always does it differently, doesn't he? But he is the master at protecting his tyres, so therefore he gives him the options. But did it work out? 9th place, Alonso. I expect more.
Stroll was surprising at 10th, so it shows that there is some pace in the cars. But you know, look, at least they got some points. I thought Kevin Magnussen might have got a point, actually.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to have seen that.
Well.
The Hulk was unlucky. Qualified top 10. Well done for it. You know, I think he's. Yeah. I think Haas have got 2 great drivers with a poor car, really. So to get that into Q3 on Friday, but you know, then he goes and falls back. He had a terrible start, falls back behind Stroll, knocks Stroll. It all went completely wrong for him, and Magnussen, you know, drove well. So I think well done to Haas this weekend. They didn't have all the luck, but they've done a lot worse. But you know, if we're going to talk about poor performances, Alpine, what has happened to that team?
Well, Ryan Reynolds got involved. That's what happened.
no, Joe, my wife's been dreaming about him, so he's getting involved everywhere at the moment.
You're not far from Wrexham, are you? You can pop down to Wrexham.
Mate, I literally, we're just outside Wrexham here. So
yeah, you have to go down to the turf. And
I'm going to go and have a word. I'll go and have a pint in the pub, with what's his name? Yeah.
No, obviously, Ryan's amazing, and he's now a small part of this new team, a part of this conglomerate. It's not down to him, but I don't know what's happened. Maybe, I don't know, is there an arrogance there that now they think they're going to be a Wrexham, they're going to be revitalized somehow magically?
We have to remember they're a works team. They are Renault. You know, they've won races, they've won world championships, but they are just really lost. And when Otmar Safnauer, who I think is a great team principal, left halfway through last season, they've been just all at sea. I think they've got a good driver lineup with Ocon and Gasly. You know, these 2 drivers easily could step into a top team. Again, I think Ocon is an option for Mercedes next year because Toto Wolff manages him. Gasly was an option for Red Bull as the number 2 and sort of moved. I think he went in there too young, just like Albon did. You know, these are great drivers. This is why there hasn't been a change on the grid this season, because there are some great drivers out there with just a few teams that are just not really delivering what's expected, especially at the start of a new season. But, Joe, we've got 23 more races for them to get it right.
It's a lot of podcasts, and so we are back this season. So we're doing our reviews, and we made some special episodes as well throughout the year. Certainly, we're going to be doing a special one from the Monaco Grand Prix. So if you're in Monaco, do let us know and come and badger us, and maybe you could appear on the podcast. Who knows? We're so looking forward to it. Next race up is the Saudi Grand Prix. That'll be next week.
Go on, Joe.
No, you tell me. Go on.
Well, it's going to be on Saturday, so it's the same as we discussed at the start of the podcast. We've got qualifying on the Friday, practice on the Thursday, qualifying Friday, and then the race on Saturday again. So do not miss it. Do not forget. It's different. I think it's great that we are accommodating all walks of life into Formula One. Global sport, mate.
It's great. It's a global sport. We just need an African race, I think.
Kyle Army, bring it back, South Africa. It was there in the 80s.
I think we definitely need to have an African Grand Prix, and I think that's in the works. I think they've been trying to sort something out, but that's a different podcast, certainly. So Saudi Grand Prix, make sure, as Darren said, Saturday next week, and let us know your comments and questions and thoughts about this season, your predictions as well for who's going to win. I mean, are we just going to say Verstappen? I mean, is it going to be this season again?
I did a prediction with my two boys, and they both predicted Verstappen, and I decided that he wasn't going to finish top 3. Oh boy, was I wrong!
I bet you included Hamilton in top 3, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I did.
Now, Joe, just looking at it, mate, we're going to wrap this up because I'm running out of battery fast here, and I'm just outside and not plugged in. I just wanted to say a shout out to Harry, who listens to our podcast every week. He came along to my show in Wolverhampton this week. I'm out with Queen Extravaganza at the moment on tour around the UK and Europe. So he said to me, I listen to every one of your podcasts. I love it, Darren. Keep going. You and Joe are doing a great job. So it's lovely to hear that, because you and I chat away about Formula One all the time, and hearing a bit of feedback and we're bringing some joy to a few people, then that's why we do it, Joe, and share it. So Harry, thanks for listening, buddy. Spread the word. We love it.
Cheers, Harry. We love it.
There's the thumbs up.
Shouts out to Paul Tarry as well for hooking me up for the Rewind Festival in Dubai. We managed to hook up and met the Jam, Bruce Foxton from the Jam, and my friend got his beautiful coffee table book signed. So he was in heaven.
Wonderful.
So thank you, Darren, for the hookup. For hooking up with Paul, for hooking up with Pat Sharp, who hooked us up with the Jam. That's how it works, folks. You want to get ahead in showbiz?
That's who you know, Joe.
Yeah, so look, we'll be here next week with a review of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in Jeddah. Don't miss it. But from now, it's bye from me, Joe Lee.
And it's goodbye from me, Darren Reeves. Take care.